I'm Jerry Carter. I was a Methodist minister for 40-some years here in Northern California. I had followed Dr. King from 1954 when he was at the Montgomery bus boycotts, heard him speak, and read all his works, and very much admiring him of him. And in 1965, on March the 6th, a small group were going to march to Montgomery. And they were met at the city limits, right over the bridge, by state troopers on horses with tear gas, and pretty much just treated terribly. Dr. King said, please send people out to be with us, and send clergy if you can get them. And I thought, well, maybe that was a good idea, and talked with my wife about it, so decided to go to Selma. I got there on the 15th of March. So I was there with, it seemed like many, probably 1,000 people from all over. They'd asked all the clergy to wear clerical collars. You get invited to the party, you wear the costume. Got there, we discovered that clerical collars were not so much for anything other than to keep us on the reservation, because in Selma there were two kinds of white people who were wearing clerical collars. One was the Catholic priest from Catholic Church, and the other were those agitators from out of town. One day we're sitting in the Brown's Chapel AME Church in Selma, and they said, we're going to have a walk, we're going to have a march up in white residential areas. We get to this neighborhood, and we're assigned 2 by 2 to walk 40 feet apart up the walk. I was walking with Percy. Percy was a young man. I don't know any more about him than he was a resident of Selma, and he had been involved with the march across the bridge that made this become visible. Percy was maybe 16 years old. He looked like he was maybe 12. He was very slim. He still had scars and bandages from being beaten at the bridge a week before. And we started walking, and he and I reached out to take each other's hand. We needed to hold hands. So we walked for a while. And after a while, the cops came out, and they said, you're under arrest, get in the car. We said, what did we do? Get in the car. And then across the way, there was maybe 20, maybe 50 police people standing there with helmets on. Some had big sticks in their hands. They kept bringing people in, and after a while we probably had 50 or 60 of us, and then 75 or 80. Turned out to be 350. We were taken up to some kind of an auditorium and told, stay here. So we stayed. We sang songs and talked and wondered what was going to happen. So finally they came in and said, well, you can go home. They sent someone in to tell us. We said, we don't think we got to go till we know why we've been arrested. And so we spent the night, 350 of us. It was important, and it was important because I'd grown up in the South and I understood what was happening and was glad to be invited to be part of what I thought was a pretty courageous thing.